Wonderful friends. Magus here, back in the library. We're in chapters 13 and 14 today because we missed one yesterday. Wow. I mean, so much here. Matter of fact, if you're not even a part of book club, I would ask stay for this video because there's so much just life lessons. You know, how do you live in a dark world and not let it dim your light? How can you help others when you can't trust others? What do you do? How do you function? How do you be a good person in a bad world? And we're going to touch on that. There is a horrible scene of rape in here, and my God, it's just there's nothing else to say. It's horrible. So if that's a trigger for you, be warned. And then Madeline Miller still mixes it with her beautiful poetic writing, always leaves you with a little hope. Matter of fact, at the end of this, even though I was upset and it's sad that Circe, she started out with such an innocent, pure, like childlike soul, and she's being forced into these situations where she has to do things that you're thinking, shouldn't you be able to just live an innocent life, a pure life, a good life, without having to be turned into something, survival of the fittest? We'll touch on that. There's a lot in these. Brought up a lot of things in myself. And just in case someone's going to turn me off, I want to touch on this one real quick. She welcomes in chapter 14 those sailors because she wants to serve them. She wants company. She has a good heart. It backfires. And it made me think of sometimes I still have guilt, my friends, of things that I didn't do. Not even things I've done, but things I didn't do. Help I didn't offer because I didn't want to put myself in a situation. I'll just give you a couple examples. You live as long as I have many, but a couple that keep me up at night. I was in Arizona, blistering hot day in summer, like only Arizona can get. There was a homeless man passed out on the sidewalk, just frying, fully dressed. And if he wasn't already dead, he was going to die. Obviously, and cars, they're just going by. No one's stopping. I see him. Now, damn it, I'm torn with, do I stop and help? You're thinking, Magus, why would you even have to think? I'll tell you why. Because I was born and raised in San Bernardino, California, where you have to be city smart, street smart. I had traps set for me before and fell into them. And you live and learn. You get calloused. I remember one time there was a couple on a motorcycle, and they were, and of course it's back in Waterman Canyon Drive, which is very secluded. Not a lot of cars went through there, and they were laid out like they were crashed. But I rode motorcycles. I've crashed. I know what it looks like. It didn't look like this. Something was fishy. And they're like both on it, still like her behind him on the bike, with it just laid over in the middle of the street. And then they're just like, they're passed out. That's not what a motorcycle accident looks like. I know. And so something was fishy. Something was off. So I had to, because they're in the middle of the street, go off the road around them. And then I'm watching in my rear view mirror, and I'm thinking, kind of feeling it out. Sure enough, as soon as I went by, I'm looking in the mirror, they both looked up, raised up. They weren't passed out, right? And it was a scam. Another time, I was in a wash with some friends, and my mom had warned me that there was a scam going on, that a pretty girl would walk out, wave men over or boys over, and then guys would jump out of the bushes, beat the hell out of them, and rob them. And so I see this pretty girl. She's waving. I'm all right. I'm walking over to her to see what she wants. Then I remembered mom's words, which is great. I mean, wasn't an hour before, but I'm glad I remembered, and sure enough, I stop and I turn around. A bunch of guys walked out of the bushes. They're lying in wait. And so that is why, and it still haunts me to this day, I drove on past that person laying on the side of the road. There's other instances where I left people in need that looked like they needed help because I was afraid it was a trap. And it still kind of haunts me, because you're thinking, how can people be so cruel, so cold? Survival. And you don't know for sure. Maybe that person was really suffering, praying out for God to send someone, and I just left them, and it haunts you. What do we do about that? We'll talk more about that. Chapter 13, it was spring, and I was down on the eastern slope picking early strawberries. The sea winds blew strongly there, and the sweetness of the fruits was always tinged with salt. And she just does her beautiful writing, as she always does. She sees a ship coming. Goddess, as they come up to her, Witch of Aya, we come to you for aid. We have fled great evil, but to escape we have done great evil. We are tainted. Oh my God. Madeline Miller paints an amazing picture of sin, of what it feels like, right? She says, I could feel it, that unwholesome air that thickened, coating everything with oily heaviness. Pollution, it rose from the unpurified crimes done against the gods and from unsanctified spilling of blood. It had touched me after the Minotaur's birth until waters washed me clean. But this was stronger, a foul, seeping contagion. Will you help us, she said. Help us, great goddess. We are at your mercy. The man echoed. It was not magic they asked for, but the oldest rite of our kind, the cleaning by smoke and prayer, water and blood. Come, she says. I will help you as I can. Did she paint that good? Like, you ever just do something bad? Like leave a hobo frying on the sidewalk in Arizona and it just weighs on you. It's ugly. It's dark. It's oily. You want to get it off. You're stained. This girl is hiding her face from her. She does the ritual. In my mind, suffering, death, blood does not clean away sin. I know that goes against everything the Abrahamic religions teach. Matter of fact, if you want a little look at this, I have a video. It was called, what was it? I believe it's something along. I'll try to look it up. Maybe I'll put it in the end screen that you can click on at the end of this if I find it. I think it was called The Beast is Here. This is not clickbait, or this is not clickbait. The Beast is Here. Something along those lines. And it shows an animal sacrifice. It shows, it shows everything. And you watch it and you see that this has nothing to do killing something innocent. You're actually doing a worse evil. One of the worst evils you can do, to kill the innocent. It's a scam, right? But they tell you, you want to get rid of your sin, but they have you commit a worse sin. You're actually getting buried worse in it. But then you're getting brainwashed at the same time that, hey, this killing is good, right? That's how they get them, where they can, hey, stone your children. It's a good thing. Go in and kill the men, women, and children. Bring me back the gold. It's a good thing, right? It's a God thing, right? Just offer up your child as a sacrifice to Jehovah's or Allah's. Blow up your children in holy war, and it's a good thing. It's patriotic. It's godly. It's a brainwashing that takes place, killing the innocent, and the evil grows more power. And the worst thing there is, do you know it's worse than just pure darkness and evil? That, hey, this is what it is. This is what they do, right? It's when they're doing evil and they're calling it God good, and people believe it and they get lost in it. Very sad. Oh, where were we? I went down one of my rabbit holes. Oh, yes. So Circe killed a baby pig to cleanse their sin. Now the princess looks up, shows her face. She's a demigod. She ends up being the daughter of Hades, right? Her little brother. I'm not going to get too far in this chapter, but it does blend well nice to 14. I'm excited to get to 14. A son of Hades. Her name's Medea. Here we got Jason, right, in the golden fleece. They're running from Circe's brother, Hades. She does a horrible thing with her brother, kills him, throws him in the water so that Hades will stop to pick him up and give him a burial. This is not a good person. So now Circe, she's trying to talk Medea to stay with her. Be like sister witches on the island. Yes, she wants company, but she also sees that there's going to be trouble for her when she gets to Jason's island. She's not going to be accepted. Just stay here. And, oh man, Medea just rips into her. And it's funny how you can speak words that stay with people forever. These words that Medea speaks over her kind of curses her, makes it where she can't hardly enjoy her spells or her island or her animals, right? What she's spoken to her, it said it made her see herself in her eyes, a bitter, abandoned crone, a spider scheming to suck the life out of her. Yeah, she just spoke those words that went into her soul. And in some way, she must have believed it a little bit. In the back of her mind, she must have been maybe thinking part of that for it to stick. She's thinking about her brother. She was thinking about how she, when he was just a small child, while he slept, would run her hands over his face, over the bones in his cheeks and head. And she loved him so much. And when he came looking for his daughter and Jason, he just spoke so cruelly to her. And she realized that her brother was gone. And this is what I wanted you to see. He was gone. And this is what we don't want to happen to Circe. This is what we don't want to happen to any of us, where your humanity is gone, right? And that's something, like I was saying, it haunted me. With some of the things I've done, people I haven't helped, not even the bad things I've done, but the good things I should have done, but I didn't do out of fear. People I didn't help because I don't know if I can trust you. Right? But we don't want to turn into monsters. And she saw Hades had turned into a monster. His goodness was gone. Right? And so at the end of chapter 14, we're getting to, we're cheering for Circe. Yay, kick their ass, Circe, right? But at the same time, don't lose yourself, Circe. Be smart, be safe, but don't lose your goodness, your love, your innocence. How do you do that? Oh, let's see here. Oh, yes. Her brother threatens her. And I highlighted this because I like this. She said, no. He's saying he's going to punish her. She says, I don't think so. Maybe on your world, on your island, you do what you will. But this is my world. This is Aya. And this is kind of the answer. You need to learn to create an Aya, an island, an Asha as I have for myself. You need to develop your magic, your wards, your protections. Know your strength, right? We're going to be getting into this. You remember just a few chapters back, Circe was feeling powerful. She's yelling at the gods, who dare take on Circe the witch? You know, in this next chapter, she's going to lose some of that fire, some of that confidence. All right, chapter 14. It's a hard one. There's a lot of rough stuff in this one. Here I go again. Outside, the winter rains had begun to fall. My lioness whelped and her cubs tumbled across the hearth on their clumsy, new-made paws. But I could not smile at it. The earth seemed to echo where I walked. Above me, the sky stretched out its empty hands. I waited for Hermes so I might ask him what became of Medea and Jason. But he always seemed to know when I wanted him and stayed away. I tried to weave, but my mind felt needle pricked. Now that Medea had named my loneliness, it hung from everything, clinging like spider webs, unavoidable. I ran along the beach, gasped up and down the forest paths, tried to shake it from me. I sifted and resifted my memories of 80s, all those hours we had leaned against each other. That old sickening feeling returned. At every moment of my life, I had been a fool. I helped Prometheus, I reminded myself, but it sounded so pathetic even to my ears. How long would I cling to that handful of minutes, trying to cover myself as if some threadbare blanket? It did not matter what I had done then. Prometheus was on his crag and I was here. The days moved slowly, dropping like petals blown from a rose. She sure writes beautiful, even in these dark feeling moments. So now, Nymph is sentenced to Circe's island. Poor Circe. And then more come to follow. And she is thinking, she escaped her father's halls. And now here are all these nymphs with their drama. She says, as I passed, their snickering laughter washed against my heels. I would not live this way, not again, not on Aya, not on my island. I called out to Hermes. She asked him to go to her father and asked that he would remove these annoying nymphs. He wouldn't do it. She says, I had been put in my place. At a word, at a whim from my father, all the power that I thought I had blew away. And not only just her father, any river god had the right to fill my island, and I could not stop them. She's feeling helpless. She's feeling weakness. She says, I sat at my hearth watching the stars turn through the window, cold. I felt cold as a garden in winter, gone deep into the ground. This was sad. When her lion dies, she's already down. And now she's feeling, again, just her helplessness, the coldness, the cruelty. One morning I woke to find her cold beside me on my bed. Perhaps 80s could have brought her back. I could not. I had a horrible feeling. She says, I sang often in those days, for it was the best company I had. That morning it was an old hymn in praise of farming. I like the shape of it on my lips, the soothing list of plants and crops, of crofts and coats, herds and flocks, and the stars that wheeled above them. I let the words float in the air as I stirred the boiling pot of dye. So she's working at her loom and her dyes and her spells, and she's singing. Then she hears a man's voice call out, "Is anyone there?" This is that sexual assault scene, if someone doesn't want to hear this. She has visitors. He says, "Lady, we are hungry and lost." He said, "In hope such a goddess as yourself would help us in our need." I smiled. It felt strange on my face after so long. "You are welcome here. You are very welcome. Come in." I just heard, I think it was a month or two ago, there was a woman in Los Angeles with a good heart, and she brought in a homeless person to give him a shower and food, and he ended up stabbing her to death. Where is that line of helping your fellow man, loving others, giving someone a hand up, a good person that's in a bad situation? And when is it a monster that's tricking you? Right? I think of like a country mouse going to the city. People just are looking for that one to take advantage of. Lady Mistress, our thanks. The fragility of mortals bred kindness and good grace. They knew how to value friendship and an open hand. If only more of them would come, I thought. I would feed a ship a day, gladly 2 ships, 3. Perhaps I would start to feel like myself again. She's feeling good about herself. She likes doing good. This is Circe's heart. This is Circe's nature. She wants to love and be kind and feed the hungry, shelter the cold. For myself now, before we move on, I do it in a different way than I used to. There's organizations out there that I give money to that house them in a safe way with security guards, right? Not bringing them into my home. If there's someone, I will drive them. We have shelters. I will take you to the shelter. I give the money to these shelters where these people know to come. They can't go buy drugs. And I go, sometimes I'll just give them money or food or water, whatever, clothing. I try to use my discernment. But these days, I mostly give it to people that are set up for it, that I feel aren't a scam. Then again, there are people that present themselves as an organization, and there's schemers and scammers. You see it with different churches and organizations. Sometimes you get burned, but you try not to let it dim your light. You try to keep doing good. Maybe you got burned on one organization. I have. Find another one, because there are real good ones out there with real good hearts. Find those. Give them your money. They'll put them in shelter in a safe way where you don't get stabbed in your sleep at night, robbed, whatever. She says, I enjoyed seeing to all their comforts myself. It's the heart of Circe that we've been talking about throughout this whole book. They're looking around at the gold and the silver. They're asking questions. Where's your husband? Where's your dad? Where's your brother? Where's your uncle? Where's any man that can kick the shit out of us when we, She said, there's no one, just me. She's starting to feel a little, she doesn't know if she's being paranoid, but she goes ahead and mixes up her herb that she can speak a word to make them sleep or transform them. She's feeling something weird, but she's telling herself, you must be wrong. I fed them. They thanked me. They're my guest. I did not want to be a fool to make a fuss for nothing. I could hear Hermes telling the tale after. She always was hysterical, right? No, her intuition was right. Before she could speak out her sleep spell, he was stronger than I, she said. And this is sad. He was stronger than I thought. Stronger than I thought he would be, excuse me. Or maybe I was weaker. He's stronger than I thought, or maybe I am weaker than I thought I was. This broke my heart again. She was getting her confidence, right? Finding her groove, happy on her island. Now the words that Medea spoke to her was kind of tainting her island. Am I just a slave? Am I this? Am I a crone? Am I not be able to, her lion has lion pups, whatever they're called. She can't enjoy them. She's looking at them, but she can't enjoy them because she's lost at what someone spoke over her. It's a curse, really. She's just feeling weakness now. And now he's choking her. He raped her. Described it awfully. I won't get into all that. The others are lining up to take their turn, but she has just enough to catch her breath. And instead of speaking her sleep spell, she said, I drew breath and spoke a word. His eyes were muddy and uncomprehending. What? He did not finish. His rib cage cracked and began to bulge. I heard the sound of flesh rupturing wetly, the pops of breaking bones. His nose ballooned from his face. His legs shivered like a fly sucked by a spider. He fell to all fours. He screamed, and his men screamed with him. It went on for a long time. As it turned out, I did kill pigs that night after all. And again, I have these mixed feelings. I was all, yeah, you know. And at the same time, I don't want her to be a helpless victim. It is better to get angry, to hate, to kill, than to be a helpless victim. But it's not good. It's not the highest good. It's not God. It's not living on her island in protection, in peace. She hasn't gotten to a place where she can set up this protection about her. She will now because of what she went through. But see, here's that crossroad that we all come to at a time. Do you just go evil? Right? There's a part of you that likes the way that feels. But you know what? Circe's heart's too good. You know, she won't be tainted. She'll go to some dark places out of necessity, out of survival, out of you fucked with the wrong person. But it doesn't change her like it did a lot of the others in this story. Where they laugh at Circe, call her naive. Oh, remember Pasiphae. Oh, sweet Circe. Where's that gotten you now? It's ringing in her ears. Naive. What good has it done you to be good? We're faced with that. You know, her heart is too good still. She's not one to be messed with. But she'll figure out other ways than just going evil. She'll figure out ways to put up wards and protections and because she's seen the end of it. You know, and I came to that in a way. you heard my story yesterday. There's a time I was getting darker and darker, more violent, more angry. Don't want to be taken advantage of. Don't want to be a fool. But then I found something that was kind of, the older you get, the more you're aware, the more you see, the more you're not just run on hormones and rage and the hurt. And I saw something. I would pick fights. Right? I saw it one time. There was a guy in a parking lot and he slammed his car door into another door. And then he did it again and again. And before I had thought, once my temper snapped, it was gone. It wasn't even my car, but I just thought it was so screwed up because we've had stuff like that happen to ourselves. So I'm yelling at him across the parking lot, cussing him, and so I'm walking towards him. He's obviously pissed. He's walking towards me. As we get closer, I realize he is towering big above me. I back down. All of a sudden, I'm reasonable. Right? I'm all like, hey, man, you shouldn't be doing that. Right? Instead of, before I was going to wanted to kick his ass for the injustice of, well, you're beating up someone's car. Now I'm all, hey, let's talk this out. Now, if there's someone smaller than me, I punch him in the face and I felt tough. And I started to see that as I got older. Oh, okay, you're tough if they're smaller than you. You're ready to be reasonable and talk it out if they're bigger than you. Is that really strength? Right? And then how far do you take it? The confrontations. It starts as an argument, then a fist fight. Then when you go to guns, then someone has to die. Is that the winner? And look at it on a world stage. Look at governments, right? Russia right now, and the U.S. and nuclear bombs. How far do you take it till you're the winner? Is that the winner? Right? I destroyed the earth. I win. You start this, if you play it out to the end, you won the argument. You won the fist fight. You won the gunfight. You won the nuclear war fight. Nobody wins. There's got to be a better way. There is a better way. And it sounds so naive, so simple, but it's love. Right? But this love, it's more powerful. I call it Asha. I create an atmosphere that hate, fear, greed cannot come in. Now let me tell you this, because I always want to be honest. I have a backup plan. I carry a gun. Where I live, it's legal. I mean, it's kind of shocking if you've never been to where I live. People walking around town have guns on their hips, over their shoulder. It's nothing strange. We don't have any crime. I remember in the other cities when people were coming in and rioting and all these different groups and stuff. No one did that here. I have a backup. If someone breaks into my house, I have wards set up. I trust in my magic, and it's always been good for me. But I have a backup. If someone breaks into my house, they will regret it. Anyway, I won't get into it, but I'm armed tooth and nail. When I go hiking, I enjoy nature. I've seen bears and moose and mountain lions and they don't bother me. But if they did, I have a gun, right? To kill is not the highest good. I wouldn't call it God. I would say something went awry with my frequency or with my magic or something. And so now I've got to handle it. It's not God. It's better than me being killed, but it's not God. It's not good. It's better than. But I want to live better than. I want to live better than just surviving. I want to thrive. I want to live in my good. I want to live in Asha. My reason to believe is the only thing that could come from a perfect creator's perfect mind is perfection. And that's what I'm reaching for all the time. That's my goal that I set for my frequency. Sometimes I miss it. Sometimes I have to take care of business the old-fashioned way. I don't like it, though. I don't get off on it anymore. It doesn't make me feel strong. It makes me feel weak. Like, I wish I was stronger, right? Like Circe's feeling right now. I wish my magic was more powerful. I wish it was stronger. It's pretty good, guys. I've shared a lot of testimony and stories with you guys. But I need more. I need better. I need the world better. I want the world just so full of love and light and peace and joy and goodness. That's what I'm reaching for. I've done my best I can to create it right here and in my home and in my land, in my world. And it works good. You walk around my house, you'll see different sigils and signs and wards that I've put up. And it's working. It's good. My life, my land is peaceful. It's happy. Sometimes I can lose myself like I did yesterday, telling those stories of past, which brings me back into those frequencies and energies, and I feel the sadness and the rage. It lowers my frequency. Won't be seeing a lot of those kind of videos, but at the same time, I feel like I need to get it out because someone might see that and think, oh, do you know what? After hearing Magus's story, I don't think I'm going to read the Bible cover to cover because it gave him OCD. I don't think I'm going to join this church that seems a little off because of the story that Magus told me, because something in my discretion, I just feel in my spirit something's off with them, and I'm going to trust that because of Magus's warning. Right? If it's not good, it's not God. You know, I always use that Meister Eckhart. Any talk of God that doesn't comfort you, it's not God. It's not good. It's all about energy, all about frequency. And the more we learn to find that magic in us, there's plenty of protection and provision inside of you. There's plenty of good beings that we can partner with to keep out the negative ones. All right. I'm going to leave it at that. That was a lot. Circe, what a book. I love this book so much. I think you're starting to see why. That was a tough couple chapters. But good, right? Sad, hard. But of course, Madeline Miller does leave us cheering at the end. You know, Circe ate bacon. And we kind of like it. All right, guys. I love you.